With more gaming YouTubers emerging year after year, it's getting harder and harder to keep the audience's attention. So, by the end of this video, you'll have a brand new set of editing tricks which, when combined with a great story, will take your gaming videos to the next level. Starting with the one that I do every single time I start editing, and that is creating a multicam clip. Now, a multicam clip is a container that allows you to add and synchronize multiple camera angles inside of your video editing software. Now, it's mainly used for multiple camera angles, but you can use it for gaming content as well. Let me show you how. The first thing you need to do is create a multicam clip. In Final Cut Pro, it's as simple as clicking on the clip and selecting New Multicam Clip. You can do the same thing in Resolve, and in Premiere, you can create a multicam sequence. By doing this, you're thrown into a brand new timeline. Think of each track as a different viewpoint of your gameplay. You can have the wide shot as track 1 and your close-up in your camera as track 2. Maybe you have your friends record their own perspectives. You can add these and have them as angles too. Then, when you bring that clip or sequence into your main timeline, you can edit it by pressing the number keys on your keyboard to jump from one angle to the other. You can even do this at 2x speed, making editing much faster. Now you can begin editing. Go through your entire timeline and start cutting from one angle to the other. And soon enough, you have a rough edit of your video. But you are far from done. Now it's time to refine it. And we do that by watching the entire thing again, but this time with the eyes and ears of a hawk. That's the saying, right? We want to start cutting out the dead spaces and pauses to improve the video's flow and pacing. Having pauses or breaks really kills the video's momentum. I mean, just see for yourself to grab the guns.
Yeah, we need 6 of them, or at least 3.
So the stakes are ramping up now. We need 6 Mozambiques rather than just 2 for me.
Yeah,
so this is going to make it even more difficult to do. Do you see what I mean? Now, a big way to help with this process is by looking at the audio waveforms on the clips. Whenever you see a space, a pause, or a break in that audio, get it out of there. One pro technique that I like to do all the time in my videos is called a split edit. And that's where the audio and video come before or after the edit point. And it helps smooth out the audio and video to make the cuts less jarring. If you drag the audio in before you see the next clip, it's called a J cut. And if you drag the audio out after you see the next clip, it's called an L cut. And these are super useful editing techniques that pro editors use all the time. As an extra pro tip, go through your entire timeline again, but this time start taking out things that aren't funny or important, and be brutal with this. You want to tell a compelling and interesting story, and not everything is going to help you achieve that goal. And one of the biggest things you can do to tell a good story is to focus on what you want your audience to feel. Emotion plays a huge part in storytelling, so make sure you focus on the areas of your video that help you deliver the feelings you want to create. Although if the content is good but you can't put it in the main video, then turn it into a YouTube short. Just cut that section of the timeline, create a brand new vertical project, and then paste in there to edit as a short later on. That way, you're using every piece of content you make and repurposing it for later. With your video coming along nicely, it's time to start layering the extra foundations to your project. In this case, adding music. We're going to start by looking for a variety of different music tracks that we can pick from to use for different sequences within our edits. You really don't want to have action music or lo-fi beats running throughout the entire thing. Add some variety. For me, I always use Epidemic Sound for my music, and I always tend to look by mood to try and find something that suits the tone I'm working on. I then use the filters to narrow down the search to something that I like, and once I have a starting point, I use this Find Similar button to help me find tracks that sound the same, to have a couple of options. I do this for every sequence in my edit to create variety and to help progress the story. I then download my tracks, and then I select the Download All Stems option. When I do this, I get a zip file with all of the components of the track divided into individual files. I can then bring each one of these into my editing software, and I can have full control over how intense the music is at each level. For example, if I have a section where I just want the drums, I can turn off all the other parts of the track and keep just the drums playing. I can then bring in the melody and the instruments later on as the tension and story build to the climax of the video. Like this. Oh, they're over here.
Oh no, they're fighting, they're fighting. This is it. This is it. Oh god, if we don't win here, we're dead as zone. Hello, Ray.
Okay.
Yeah, phase away for the Mozam. I think she's
Sam,
last
you
one.
want it? Sam, you want it?
I think she's last one. Kill her.
Yes! Oh my god.
This level of control really allows you to fine-tune how you want your music to affect your story. And that allows your audience to feel what you want them to feel. And you should always look for what you can do within your story to create emotion. From intense battles of pure adrenaline heightened gameplay to the slower, laid back, more funnier moments. And speaking of, with your timeline polished, it's now time to jump into the fun stuff. And something that I see all the time in gaming videos is the zoom effect. It's probably one of the most used effects, and a bit overused if you ask me, but maybe because it's just so easy to do. Simply click on your clip, go to your scale properties and crank that number up. If you click on the little square or the property name, if you're using Premiere, you can then move the clip around to get it to where you want. If you want to get creative, you can even introduce keyframes to punch in on your footage from a wide to a close-up. Click on the clip you want to zoom in and click on the little keyframe icon next to scale. Move in a few frames and then crank the scale up. Now your clip will zoom in, adding in an extra layer of movement to your shot. You can even do this with the position as well, which leads me on to tracking. Tracking is a great way to add polish to your video. All that involves is just moving the shot so it stays in the center of the frame, and it's super easy to do. And you can do this with tools like After Effects or Apple Motion. But today, we don't need those. Instead, add a keyframe to the position parameter of the clip, and then move the clip to keep it centered. Move forward a few frames, and move the clip back to the middle. Keep doing this until you reach the end of the clip, and you'll have a manually tracked clip. I've actually created a few guides for myself inside of Final Cut Pro that I use to track things to the center. Just click on the View menu, add a custom overlay, and import the custom guides you want to use. I also use one of these for shorts and TikToks, so I can use it as a guide to keep everything in frame. Now, the second most popular editing trick you see all the time in gaming videos is subtitles. Subtitles are pretty simple, but they are super effective. They can add a lot of comedic flair to your videos, but they can also add emphasis and context to elements of your story. For example, I have this section in the video where Boom mentions there's not much shotgun ammo.
There's not a lot of shotgun though.
This is important as it will reference a lot more in the video going forward. So add in some text by dragging the title into the timeline, stylizing the text by giving it some color and an outline, and choosing a really nice bold font. For this one, I really like Kids Magazine. And feel free to experiment with the fonts and colors of your subtitles, especially if there's more than one person talking. By going to the start of the clip, I'm going to add 3 keyframes, each one set 1 frame apart. The start keyframe is set to 45%, the second is set to 110%, and the third one is left at 100%. So when we play it back, you have this really cool text popping effect. We can even track this by adding some position keyframes as well. And as a pro tip, if you nest or compound clip the subtitles, then all you need to do is animate the new nested titles instead of one by one. You're welcome. One cool way of introducing dynamic editing into your videos is by using something called split screening. Split screening is where you take one video, cut it in half, and present another video next to it. Oh, like that. It's super useful if you want to display multiple perspectives or different angles within your video. All you need to do is stack the 2 video clips you want to split screen. Go to your clip properties and find the crop slider. Drag either the left or the right crop amount all the way until you get to 960 pixels. Then click on the bottom clip and tweak the position to make sure it's centered within the frame. Another variety of split screening which works really well in YouTube videos is called picture in picture. A lot of YouTubers will do this with their camera and their perspectives and place it in the corner of the video. This is something that I personally use all the time for the tutorial videos on this channel, and it's super easy to do. Drag the clip you want on top of your gameplay, then you can crop it to size and scale it down to fit in the corner of your screen. Alternatively, I like to add a mask to change the shape of the camera. You can do this to change it from a square to a circle. Now when I move the clip around, it will have a circular shape. I can then take the position keyframe and create a transition of the clip animating in and out. And one other way to make your content pop is by using motion graphics. More specifically, simple motion graphics like social media pop-ups, like this. These are a great way to encourage more people to engage with your content and follow you on social media. And with the help of today's sponsor, Visuals by Impulse, and their tool Super, it's even easier. Just go to visualsbyimpulse.com, click on their tools, and go to Super. You can then browse a selection of pop-ups, which you can get for as low as $2 each, which is incredible for animations this good. You can add your name, username, profile picture, and even tick that verified checkbox. Thanks, Elon. Click save, and then download it to use in your video editing software. You can even use it in OBS if you stream and want to promote your social media while you're live. Just drag it in, and you've added a super cool social media callout within minutes. With your graphics in place, it's now time to move on to sound design. When adding sound effects, it's important to focus on the intention behind them. Don't just add things because you can. Again, think about the emotion you're trying to create. For example, I have this zoom shot where I punch in quickly to show that we have no Mozambiques anywhere. To add emphasis to that, I'm going to add the classical Metal Gear Solid alert noise to add emphasis. Mosam. And when combined together, it just highlights the surprise of that moment. And if you're looking to get really good sound design, play around with adding multiple sound effects to create a soundscape. Having a deeper sound bed will create an atmosphere, and that will be really useful for different sequences within your video. In a heated gunfight in the final zone in Apex, add some heartbeats to simulate the tense environment you're in. Stuff like that adds some serious depth to your video, and it will make it just that much better. Once you've done with all of this, it's then time to focus on becoming faster at editing. And I give some tips on how you can do that in this video right here. So check that video out, and until next time, take care.